Who's your favourite character from Mortal Kombat?
Sub-Zero, because he's literally the coolest.
No.
Mortal Kombat is one of the most successful video game franchises of all time, with millions of copies sold and over a dozen games in the series, which makes for a lot of money and uppercuts. One of the reasons the series is so famous, or rather infamous, is the inclusion of Fatalities, a kind of victory dance where you get to murder your opponent super hard. Given how synonymous Fatalities are now with the Mortal Kombat franchise, it's weird to think that the original creators of the game didn't actually expect anybody to find all of the Fatalities in the first Mortal Kombat game in the series.
Where did the idea for Fatalities actually come from?
Well, the story goes that early in the development of Mortal Kombat, an idea was thrown around to have the final boss of the game, Shang Tsung, cut your head off with a sword if he managed to beat you. And all the people making the game said this idea was too cool not to implement at other points in the game, because obviously Shang Tsung being the final boss, like half the players playing this game in the arcades might not even ever fight him. So I believe someone suggested, and a paraphrase quote is, what if the player could be this badass too? And that obviously extended to the idea of Fatalities. With this idea in mind, John Tobias and Ed Boon, the original creators of Mortal Kombat, set about giving every single character a unique finishing move. Weirdly, despite the extra effort they went to, giving every single character a bonus murder-death-kill move to style on their opponents at the end of a match, John Tobias would later report that he never actually expected anybody to have the patience or dexterity to find them all.
Why would no one find the Fatalities?
Well, one, you had to stand a specific distance away from your opponent while they were in the dizzy state, depending on which character you were playing as. Obviously, that's something that wasn't communicated to the player. So even if you knew a specific fatality input, if you didn't stand the exact right distance away, it wouldn't work. And also, the input was just a random string of button presses that also wasn't communicated to the player. That didn't really have any bearing on gameplay. So it wasn't just do a special move from the specific distance away. It was just like input like 3 different directions, a very specific distance away, and then press this specific punch or kick. And then you'll like rip your opponent's head off.
Johnny Cage wins.
If they're in the game because Boon and Tobias thought they were too awesome to just include once, why make them so impossible to find?
Well, Tobias and Boon's reasoning was, and this is actually quite genius, by making Fatalities something that they didn't advertise and that people didn't know was in the game, they theorised that eventually someone somewhere would do one by accident at the end of a game and their mind would just be blown and the opponent they were playing against would be like, what the fuck was that? And what would you do after that? You put more money in the machines to try and figure it out again. And then rumours would spread of like, did you hear in this game you can rip your opponent's head off? No, you can't. No, you did. My mate's cousin saw someone do it. No, they didn't. Mortal Kombat has a lot of these, like especially early in the game's life cycle. And I think in the first version of Mortal Kombat again, they added a secret character, Reptile, who was a rumour for the first few months the game even existed. Because to like, unlock him and fight against him, you had to like, do a load of really obscure shit, including winning a round with a double perfect without blocking, which obviously no one's ever going to do willingly, so like no one found this character. And to make things even worse, he wasn't even in the game as a playable character until the 3rd update of the arcade machine, meaning there were people out there who heard about it and knew that like Reptile's in the game, but they might have had the wrong version of the machine and not been able to fight him. Can you imagine how disappointing it'd be to go through that game and beat someone with a double perfect without blocking and then not fight Reptile? But I think potentially my favourite one is in Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. You fight against Scorpion, and in that game there is an Easter egg where you can make him not say his trademark line of "get over here" when obviously he throws out his spear.
Get over here!
And people don't believe me when I tell them this, so you can put the clip in. If you dodge his spear several times in a row, instead of "get over here," he will say, "get the fuck over here." And it's the only time I'm aware of in any game where that line changes.
Get the fuck over here!
And if you continue dodging it, eventually when he does grab you and he pulls you towards him, instead of saying "get over here," he just says, "come here, bitch."
Get over here, bitch!
And that's great. I want that to be in all the games. In fact, that's the only game they changed that line, and I don't understand why. Because that's a way cooler line, isn't it? Like, Mortal Kombat X is already a game where you're like tearing people's heads off. What's the harm in just putting one F-bomb in there?
So it took months for people to discover that Reptile was even there in the first place.
Yeah, because you have to remember at the time the first Mortal Kombat game was released in arcades, secret characters weren't really a thing. So you can probably imagine how many arcade fist fights would start between kids going, you know, there's a secret third ninja who wears green armour. It's like, no, that's a lie. No, my cousin saw it. And then boom, 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 fist fight. Those kids aren't talking for the next 3 years. Friendship over. But you're probably thinking, okay, like, Reptile was potentially more obscure than Fatalities. So how long did it take people to discover Fatalities? Do you want to know how long it took?
How long?
Less than a day. The game hadn't even been officially released before someone found the Fatalities. According to John Tobias, during playtesting, so before the game was even technically out, they're just testing the machines to make sure they work and see if people will enjoy the game before they want to make any final change for the final release. He said on that very first day, a kid who was 12 years old walked up to the machine and accidentally did Sub-Zero's head rip. And obviously that kid's mind was fucking blown. But John Tobias, being an absolute stone pimp badass, absolutely refused to acknowledge that the kid had done it. And the kid spent the rest of the day trying to convince people using the machine that there was a secret move to rip people's head off. And he even went over to John Tobias and went, Mister, like, this is your machine, isn't it? Oh yeah, it is. You saw me rip the guy's head off, didn't you? I don't know what you're talking about.
But there's a secret move in it where you can do it, isn't there?
Nope.
No?
I never heard of that. No, there is. And do you know what that kid did? He spent the rest of the day trying to convince people and then spent all of his money trying to recreate it. And John Tobias like, we're fucking on something here. This is a good idea.
What did?
Well, he was a businessman, not a babysitter. I like to put that out there. But that proves that the idea they had of people are going to go fucking mental trying to figure out how to do this. And I feel so sorry for that kid because apparently he did it just playing against the AI. He wasn't even playing against an opponent, so there was two of them. It was just him on his own, and the first thing he did was accidentally rip the opponent's head off. And he's like, how did I do that? Mister, how did I do that? I'm not telling you. That's a secret. What a dick move. What a dick move. I love it. So just to sum up, when they were making the first Mortal Kombat game, the people behind it assumed that Fatalities were so obscure and difficult to input that nobody playing would ever find them. When they tested the game, a 12-year-old kid accidentally found them on his very first game.
It's kind of shit now that in the age of the internet, there are no secrets anymore.
Not really, no. You'll get a balance patch for a video game, and literally within hours, someone will mine that shit and discovered exactly, oh, who's the next secret character? Boom, done, instantly. On the internet within hours of the update being downloaded. But there's some great examples of that, and I think potentially one of my favourites is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. When they released it, they were teasing who are the bonus characters? And they put up a teaser poster. And people could, from this poster, say, oh, that character looks like Virgil from Devil May Cry. So what they did is on Capcom's own website, put in Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3, Ultimate Marvel Capcom / Virgil.jpg, and it brought up just a picture of Virgil in the game, his character. I'm like, oh, there he is. So people just guessed random names based on who does that look like, and then found all the characters within literally an hour. And another good one, and this goes back to Mortal Kombat, because this is fucking brilliant. For the game Injustice 2, they released bonus characters for over a year, and they would always do a shot of them in silhouette. It's like, oh, who is the next character? And people would obviously guess. Oh, that looks like, I don't know, is that Enchantress? Is that Black Manta? And for one of them, they had Raiden. And I think from Mortal Kombat, what's the one thing you know about Raiden? Is that he wears that big dumb hat, doesn't he? So obviously they put in the teaser trailer, oh, who are the next Injustice 2 guest characters? And you just see a silhouette of this guy with his fucking hat on. And everyone immediately just goes, that's Raiden from Mortal Kombat. And Ed Boon was like, no, it's not. And released another trailer, and this is true, where they photoshopped out the hat. Because they realised, oh shit, it is kind of obvious who that is. And that's great. There was another good one for Borderlands 2. Well, I think one of the developers just took a picture of someone asleep on the couch and didn't realise in the background they had a poster for the next bit of DLC, Tiny Tina's assault on whatever mansion. And it's like, oh shit, we accidentally just revealed all the next big DLC thing in a selfie or some shit.
Did you see the one where someone for one of the Overwatch patches, when they bring out a new character, accidentally posted the URL, my document / something / the name of the new character instead of the picture they were supposed to put up of the promo.
So it just basically revealed who the new
Yeah,
character
said who
was.
the new character was going to be.
I think someone did that for Dragon Ball FighterZ as well, where one of the Twitter profiles for like Namco Bandai like in Taiwan accidentally just released the trailer of one of the characters like 3 days early. It's like, well, you're not getting rid of this. This has been downloaded immediately. That one with Raiden in Injustice 2 always tickles me because he's like, oh, let's tease the next character, and it's so obviously, it's like, the hat is so iconic, and the fact that he edited it to remove the hat is the best thing. I fucking love that. That's great. Oh man, but you don't beat, like, back in the day though, the rumours that you used to get, like, the Pokemon ones were the worst.
Oh, Mew in the truck and all that.
Yeah, moving the truck in Pokemon. But the absolute best one I ever saw, I think it was in an actual official like Nintendo like magazine or something, where they had like, oh, Professor Oak's tips, and one of them was to get the secret legendary Pokemon Mew, catch all 150 Pokemon and then start a new game. Don't worry, it'll save your progress or something like that. And obviously in all Pokemon games, you start to get it deletes your progress. And imagine how many kids fell for that one.
That was in a magazine?
Yeah, and it was under like Professor Oak's pro tips.
Was it just a huge troll, or did the people genuinely think it was
know. But I know Silent Hill did something similar. The very first Silent Hill game, they sent out review copies. And what they did is after, when the review copies had gone out, they took the game and edited it and changed the solution to all the puzzles and where all the items were. So do you know when all the magazines came out saying, oh, here's the guide to how to beat like the first Silent Hill, they were all wrong. Because obviously it's like, oh yeah, if you go to this area, you'll find like a health spray. And they moved all the items and solutions to the puzzles. And people are like, no, this is wrong. This is bullshit.
Oh, that's so hard.
That's so good, though. I want games to start doing that again. That's amazing.
Well, this is what one of the things that really annoyed me when I used to play World of Warcraft was the fact that there are no secrets.
Like you're never going to. The people who in Eastern Europe who just like play that shit for 20
I want
hours a
them
day.
to add like an item that they never release and never tell
The
anyone
Sword of a
about.
Thousand Truths.
Yeah, well, just
Hide it on a thumb drive in a desk somewhere.